Hello, and welcome to the First Stitch podcast, where we tell the stories of how everyday quilters just like you got started quilting, plus talk about some other fun quilty things along the way. This is your host, Lisa Donnelly from Wild Plum Lane. Let's get started. In this episode, we'll meet Mary, a fellow Kansas City area quilter. She wrote, "As for my quilting journey, my mother taught me to sew when I was around 8 years old. I mostly helped her with sewing simple outfits for me and clothes for my dolls. I really liked picking out the patterns and fabrics and creating something that no one else could buy in a store. I took a break from sewing during high school. My crafting interests changed over the years, and I ended up not sewing for nearly 15 years. I got back into sewing when my children were in elementary school. I was drawn to sew them Halloween costumes, and I never looked back. My aunt then took me on a quilt shop hop, and I was hooked on quilting from that point on. I mostly make quilts, bags, pouches, and more for family and friends. I recently purchased a long arm, so I'm having a blast learning that. There's still so much to learn, but then, do we ever stop learning? I recently started volunteering to quilt Project Lannis quilts, which I'm enjoying, and that is the story from Mary. I was thrilled when Mary reached out after seeing my Wind Blossom quilt in an area quilt show. My favorite thing about doing all of this is getting to connect with other quilters like Mary, and like you. For today's WIP-Finishing tip, let's prioritize your works in progress. When we have multiple projects going on at once, sometimes it's hard to decide what to do, and that indecision can lead to wasted time and procrastination. If you have a project or two that you're currently focused on, it becomes much easier to decide what to do next and set yourself up for success. But how to decide which projects are priority? Let's talk through 3 things that can help you prioritize those projects. First, deadlines. Is there a hard and fast date for a baby shower coming up, or a wedding, birthday, or holiday where you'll be gifting a quilt? If so, put those at the top of the list. Those dates aren't going to move, very much anyway. Babies tend to have a mind of their own, of course. And then if you're gifting a quilt, don't forget to include a copy of the free downloadable Quilt Care card. The link to get that is in the show notes. For the second tip on prioritizing, ask yourself what projects are closest to completion. Is there one quilt you just need to bind or get quilted? Put those closer to the top of the priority list so you can knock them off and build momentum for your next finish. And finally, what's inspiring you right now? Maybe you've signed up for a quilt-along or swap and can't wait to choose your fabrics. Or perhaps you have a project already going and can't wait to start putting it all together. Regardless, make those projects you're feeling motivated and inspired to work on next on your list. With those thoughts in mind, scan through your works in progress to determine your first, second, and third priorities. You don't need to go through all of them. I have close to 40, so I know how time-consuming that could be. Just identify the first 3 to 5 projects, and voila, you've prioritized your works in progress and can start working toward finishing them. Keep in mind that once those first projects are done, you can revisit your works in progress and decide your next top priorities by going through the very same process. The first step toward making real progress is to have a direction to move in, and you're determining that today. Way to go. A little earlier, I talked about how important connection is, and today I wanted to share a fun way to stay connected with your friends, family, and fellow quilters. Have you heard about my Postcard Club for quilters? Every month, I get out my watercolors and paint a quilt block, then design a postcard to highlight that block. Members of the Postcard Club receive 2 pre-printed postcards in the mail, one to mail out to a loved one, and another to display, send, or stash away for a rainy day. Plus, a fun extra little surprise comes during your birthday month. The best part about the Postcard Club is that it doesn't require any additional work from you, other than writing a sweet note and sticking on a stamp. It's a great way to create connection while showing off your quilty style. You can join or cancel anytime. Just get in before the 20th of each month to receive that month's postcard. I hope to see your name pop up soon. I've dropped a link in the show notes for you to check out. And with that, we'll wrap up this episode of the First Stitch podcast. If you enjoyed listening, I'd sure appreciate it if you'd hit the subscribe button in your favorite podcast player, write a review on Apple Podcasts, or tell your best quilty friends so they can listen too. By the way, do you have a story to share? Every quilter has a beginning to their story, and we'd love to hear yours. Plus, over the years, you might have picked up tips or tricks you could share with others. It might inspire another quilter, so we want to hear about it. Share your personal quilting journey, your best project finishing tip, or your first stitch moment. Your story might be read on an upcoming episode of The First Stitch. You can submit your story today by sending an email to firststitchpodcast, all one word, that's firststitchpodcast@wildplumlane.com, or use our quick submission form down in the show notes. I can't wait to talk with you again soon.